Good afternoon all. It's really going to be short because I'm on the panel after this and I'm not going to bore you with too much detail there. Just a little bit of background on UK Export Finance. It's an export credit agency for the UK government. For those who are not familiar with export credit agencies, I'll probably provide a little bit more information on the panel, but it really is there to the benefit of both the buying country and also the UK itself. We facilitate UK exports by funding long-term infrastructure. Rail is particularly interesting and an important sector for us to fund and to finance and to look there. I think I should say that we 5 on the African continent. I look after Southern Africa. I've got a colleague in West Africa, East Africa, Egypt, and also Morocco. We've got big appetite for many countries in Africa as a whole. A couple of numbers, and I'm not going to bore you with numbers, but it's always good to just highlight those. Botswana, £4 billion. £4 billion is a lot of money. South Africa, £2.5 billion. And a country like Eswatini, between 500 and 750 million pounds worth of appetite. Now, appetite means exactly that. It's a credit appetite that we have. The bulk of our business is with sovereigns, but we can do private companies too. And I'm going to introduce you to Paro Naidu from Fellow Rail too, just as by way of indication of companies that we work with and try to work with to provide innovative finance structures at the end of the day. We work with banks. We always work with banks. We complementary to the financial industry, not competition with them. We guarantee largely that the facilities. It becomes a little bit of a theoretical thing, but we guarantee up to 85% of any transaction itself. And of the 85%, we guarantee 100% thereof. So the banks really like us. They get risk-weighted asset relief, making it a very attractive offering. We provide guarantees, but we also do direct lending. And if there's interest on that, I will gladly talk around that with yourself on a one-on-one basis. I think it's important to note that it's not grant funding, it's actually really commercial-based funding. We provide or we charge a risk premium, but the risk premium is offset against by the risk factor, because the institutions that will lend the money at the end of the day, they take the risk on UK Export Finance, which is a department of the UK Treasury or UK government itself. Also important to note that we can do any type of structure. We do triple Ps, public partnerships. We do balance sheet lending, we do sovereign lending, direct lending, and then guarantees itself. So I would welcome you to talk to me at a later stage. We do that. The UK do have a stand outside. I'm capably supported by my Department of Business and Trade colleagues. We will bring in the supply chain, the UK supply chain, because any of our support, we need at least 20% UK content, so it's tied funding. It's a lot less than other ECAs. Other ECAs can go up to as high as 100% of their foreign content itself. We just need 20%. But I would love to speak to you. Maybe just to not take up any more time, Paro, if you just want to come and talk a little bit about that and how we work together on that. And then hopefully we'll go into a little bit more detail on the panel as well. Thank you very much.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you, Dirk, for allowing me for a few minutes to just give you a bit as to how we engage with each other. I think in keeping with the theme or keeping with the time requirements, and I'd like to maybe cover as the Tello Group with regards to the theme of enhancing railway capacity. As Tello Group, we literally have 2 arms to ourselves, which is Tello Rolling Stock Leasing, where we lease locomotives and wagons into the rail market. And we have Tello DB, who provides all the additional services outside of the leasing side of the business. In terms of the new operating models that we use, this is where we work with export credit agencies like UKEF. The value of engaging with UKEF is that to the extent there are certain shortfalls in the equipment or funding that's required, we as Tello are able to provide that equity component to the transaction. In addition to that, there's various other benefits that one gets in terms of working with the ECAs, and that is added insurance that gets covered over the full term of the transaction as well, which is the likes of, for example, political risk insurance. That provides efficient budgeting for rail operators, because that's a key component that's needed by funders, which is then covered in the transaction. I think if you look at where we are as the leasing side of the business, earlier on you saw Mr. Carlos Diaz give you an insight into the cargo logistics. We have locomotives that are working on that corridor, and if you want to use him as a frame of reference, I'm sure he'll be able to provide that to you based on our earlier discussion that we had as to the solution that we provide. Not only do we just cover the leasing side of it, we make sure that we cover the maintenance as well as the spares component to that. So for the past that you are studying patiently, but I think the organization that we also work very closely with are the DFIs. I think we have a very strong relationship with DBSA in terms of the model that we put together in raising capital for the rail projects. That's projects that we're covering from early stage, which is looking at feasibility assessments, all the way to providing the rolling stock to the corridor. I'll be happy to engage with anyone in terms of the more details as to our rolling stock leasing model and solution that we have. Thank you.